What do you wish you had in high school that kids have today? MP3 players, Spotify and the like. I had to carry around my Discman on my long walk home from school. Even with anti-skip it would still buffer every now and then. Don't get me started on batteries too. Nowadays it's so easy to listen to anything at any time, back then it wasn't. I'm still discovering new music from 20 plus years ago thanks to Spotify. So much easier than sitting next to the radio with your finger on the record button so you could capture your favorite songs on cassette tape. Ah, the days of taping Radio 1 charts on a Sunday. Please don't talk over the end of the song, please don't talk over the end of the song, please don't talk over the end of the song, ah, god damn it. Then when you finally get the song you've been waiting for and the duckhole DJ keeps putting a station ID over top of the track every 20 seconds. I remember I downloaded a version of When You Were Young by The Killers on LimeWire and it said K-Rock in a quiet bit of the song and I still say that bit to myself if I ever hear it. My son is in his high school's robotics team. They have tons of tools to build robots to compete, including a big machine that cuts sheets of metal based on what digital file you send it. I'd have loved to have had that. When I was in high school, the most advanced tool I had access to was a dot matrix printer. I wowed my classmates with my complex report covers made with WordArt and highly pixelated graphics. Quote, WordArt. Peak visual design. Yeah, this. I mentor a first robotics team and this is exactly what I would have wanted in high school. I was a total geek who was terrified of public speaking. Robotics would have given me a chance to use my skills and interests instead of hiding them, make friends with like-minded people and learn to communicate better. My high school had all kinds of sports teams and music clubs and drama and debate clubs and such, but if you were a nerdy kid like me your options were, chess club? Robotics turned me into a full human. Public speaking, working with others and in general being out of my shell. Not just on the teams but as a referee and head referee. One of the best experiences in my life. Quote, robotics turned me into a full human. Oh wow. Go on. Quote, public speaking, working with others and in general being out of my shell. Oh, well that's cool too I guess. I thought you were a cyborg. Programming classes. I seem to have just missed that after I graduated. I only graduated last year, and over here the whole curriculum was changed just as I was entering year 11. Now basic Python and Scratch is being taught to younger years and I'm pissed I only just missed them. Sure I could learn it myself, and I probably will, but learning programming in a proper learning environment? I'm mad I missed that. Edit, just logged to see a bunch of people saying that I don't need it, or that I'm better off without proper classes, glad to hear I didn't miss much. I will probably try to learn Python sometime this year. Probably cell phones. The ability to call or text an individual to find out where they are was a revolution but wasn't widespread until I was in college. Used to have to call their parents' house and hope they were there. The idea that once you left the house you were just in a communication black hole until you returned or actively called someone from a pay phone is a big change from the modern day. You had to make plans the day or morning before, and then if anything happened to derail those plans then whole thing was just a failure. Yeah but duck. Teachers were on a warpath when they first came out. Got my first in senior year and having a phone on you was like hiding Anne Frank from the Gestapo. Scratching your crotch? You're hiding a phone. Minute beep on your watch? Give me the phone. Remembered something funny and laughed out loud? Well, stuff is shut down till you hand over the phone. Digital photography. I have so few pictures of friends and good times we had during high school because no one carried around a camera and bothered to get film developed. Of the ones we did have, most are long gone with no negatives to get them reproduced. Edit, to all of the folks saying to be glad because there aren't that many pictures to come back and haunt you. When you're in your 50s you'll be amazed at just how few people give a crap about the stupid stuff you did in high school. We all did stupid stuff, no one is unique in that aspect, you just grow to realize it wasn't really all that stupid. I was that annoying girl that brought her Canon DSLR with her everyday and kept filming and shooting without consent. Don't know how and why I kept doing it even though everyone hated it, but now people are contacting me because they want to see photos from when they were teenagers. Electricity. Username checks out. His username is Old Geezer. I'm in college as an older person ATM, and honestly, I wish I had the social dynamics law. I was eating lunch and I heard two guys talking to each other and he was showing his friend something on his phone and he was like, bro, she's beautiful, I can totally see you guys together, and it seemed to make the other guy really happy. I don't know if he was maybe feeling insecure about how he looks or whatever. But you could tell it meant a bit to him. It just seems less cliquey. Less every man for themselves. I'm sure there's plenty of unfriendlies, obviously. But just generally kids seem really nice and smart these days. Totally. I'm shocked, in a good way, at how supportive high school students are of each other compared to how it was when I was in school's late 90s, early 00. I volunteered with my work to talk to high school students about bullying and they could have educated us honestly. Class of 1984, a word processing program. I cannot write or type for shit, I have dysgraphia. If I could have been able to get words on paper as easily as we can do now, who knows how my life might have turned out. Used to write papers in one sitting, if I didn't have a computer to review my thoughts I would have been so lost. It would have taken 10x on a typewriter, I would have had to change my writing style. The Internet. I was able to use the Internet for a project during my senior year, really made me wish I'd had it my whole life. This project usually took 3 months but I had it done in a week because most of that time was normally spent fact-finding. As someone who grew up with the Internet, I feel I take it for granted now. You do, but that's normal. I grew up with toilets in every building and home, I thought nothing of them, but my grandfather only had outhouses. Wow, did not think the old outhouse would be getting a lot of replies. My grandfather's house had a attached barn with a 2-holer inside a small room, and that was one of the better designs as you never had to go outside. Khan Academy. I think this is the best answer. Back in the day, if your lecturer was bad, you were either condemned to a bad grade, or you could try to leech information from the book or classmates. Now, if you don't understand something, there are like 400 million people on YouTube who have demonstrations of every kind of problem imaginable, for free. It might take a few hours of hit or miss searching, but you'll eventually find someone who can explain it. I made it through calc in high school because of YouTube videos made by random Indian guys. A USB drive. If my project file size was too big, I had to carry like 5 floppy disks to school and spend entire home room and half of first period printing. I'm in high school and I've never seen anyone use a flash drive. Everyone just uses Google Drive because it's not a physical thing you can lose. As a fellow high school floppy disk user, this Google Drive comment makes it even worse. Stop rubbing it in. So this isn't a tangible thing I wish I had, but I have a 14-year-old son and the one thing that I really admire about him and his entire friend group is that they are so open with their feelings with one another. It sounds cheesy, but it seems like kids in this current generation are much more okay with letting each other know they care. There's just an openness with them all that I find refreshing. It's something that I didn't experience in my sad goth staring out the window late 90s high school days, and I really love it about all those kids. Edit, a word edit too, thank you for the gold. To be honest, this entire thread has made my day. I am so happy that it seems like there are a bunch of kind kids growing up out there. I know there will always be turds in the punch bowl, but it makes me feel hopeful that the younger generation seems to be doing things right. My preteen son and his friends are so loving toward each other. They tell each other if their feelings are hurt or something good happened, they don't make fun of other kids, and they always hug when they meet up and leave. They're quick to include kids who are generally left out, or playing alone. It's a weird level of openness and intimacy I never had with my friends and it makes me so happy to witness. I teach high school-aged drumline kids, mostly boys, and I am elated to say that I agree and it's definitely this generation. Makeup tutorials on YouTube. These kids these days have no idea how good they have it. I was looking like an orange-faced, pale-neck, raccoon-eyed mess. Yep, teenagers are just skipping that whole bad makeup period between like 13 to 16 BC of YouTube. I see a lot of nothing responses, cherishing the lack of intrusive technology and privacy, but I feel like I missed out on the chance to really capture memories I would hang on to forever. The only real pictures I have of friends from the time are so limited that it makes me sad. I graduated in '06, and I have one packet of lab-developed pictures from one of those disposable snap and shoot cameras that a few of my friends and myself used. They are such fun pictures. They help me cherish the memories. Also, I was really into video editing at the time. My best friend and I were doing everything we could to film and edit lightsaber battles, with force lightning, force pulls, etc. My father works in insurance, and he had a digital camera that recorded low-res images to 3.5 floppy. It recorded about 12 seconds of grainy image per shoot. We made do, and we had a blast. But, the idea of having a camera in our pocket that could easily film 4K and enable some truly epic short films? Bummer. Perhaps technology feels invasive in a sense, but it also gives you the ability to look back, and to innovate, and to explore. I know what you mean. I graduated in '98 and almost no one brought a camera to school. There's only one picture of me from my high school days, and it was a group photo of the art club that was featured in the yearbook, which I couldn't afford to purchase. If we had smartphones back then, I'd have so many pictures of me and my friends. Instead, I only have memories. Nearly endless information at my fingertips. There is so much information out there about how to be a better person and live a better life, how-to videos, grooming tips, relationship advice, etc., safety and wellness like learning that suicide or domestic abuse hotlines exist, communities for marginalized and minority people, and information that make us better understand the world around us. Yeah, there is a dark side of false information, merchandising, unrealistic expectations a la Instagram influencers and porn, etc. But the benefits greatly outweigh those aspects. I went to high school in the late 80s, by the way. An environment in which being smart is a good thing, and nerdy is not a bad thing. It still boggles my mind how mainstream media such as anime and superheroes, hell, even video games, are now. When I was in high school, liking those things still made you a bit of an outcast. Quote, anime is still a very fine line. If you're too vocal and public about anime, you become the school weeb. If you're into anime but still have a life outside of it, then you're all good. Wikipedia. My high school era was right when Wikipedia started getting bigger. I can still remember teachers smacking the board saying Wikipedia is not a valid source. Fast internet at home. I had to suffer through 56K dial-up, that was actually more like 28.8K. That stuff sucked. Schools know how to use laptops and tablets a lot better. Like 10 years ago when I was starting our country's way, of high school, we had those trash laptops and it took almost as long to find the cart, find a charged laptop and turn it on, as that it took to do whatever we had to do. Now I've been on schools where they all have a Chromebook with some of their subjects on it. Like, the whole method of maths for example, is on their Chromebooks. They don't need pens, paper, calculators, books, answer sheets, they just have to remember to charge their laptops. Also, I can check in 0.1 second if they did their homework through that program. And how well they did it. I can even see the questions that were the most troublesome. So it wasn't necessary when I was in school, but in my opinion, how they work with technology now is a huge improvement. Lack of extremely strict phone rules. Wanna check a text or the time between classes? Confiscated until your guardian picks it up for you. Being on your phone during class is one thing, but it was ridiculous that we couldn't even use them during our lunch period. Nowadays apparently classes participate in group activities on their phone, like Kahoot or whatever that is. I totally forgot about that stuff. I had an early MP3 player with a clock back in high school, thing was high-tech at the time. Held like 100 or so tracks. It was great, and I pulled it out of my bag to check the time during class and my teacher took it up. Well, she sent it to the front office, and one of the office workers stole it. The school tried to be like, oh well, not our problem. My dad screamed at the principal and threatened to get a lawyer involved. The next day my dad handed me a check for $250 to cover the cost of the MP3 player, made out to me by the school. All that could have been avoided if I could have just been allowed to check the ducking time. Bluetooth headphones. Could never perfectly hide the cord, would get caught and lose my phone for the class. My school uniform included a blazer, so I used to put my iPod in my inside pocket, a good old click wheel model, way before iPhones, iPod Touch, feed the cable up my sleeve and into my hand and listen in one ear by leaning on my hand, haha. Never got caught. I'm in high school right now and I honestly just want a nap. You have reached the end of the video. If you have any desire to do anything, I suggest you keep watching other videos, as that counts as doing something I suppose, or subscribe to the channel if you are new, or something else. Either way, have a great existence.